Just let him in.
The sound started to radiate in my ears and hurt.
Let him in.
Bray Wyatt, the first time that I ever looked inside of your eyes, I knew there was something inside of you. I knew that you were evil.
Don't you understand, Bray? You are the man in the woods. Let me in.
The story we've seen played out recently with Bray Wyatt is that of his alter ego, the Fiend. A being built on rage, bent on destruction and causing mayhem, chaos and revenge on everyone who has wronged Bray Wyatt in the past. But there's something a lot more sinister going on here. We know about the long-term booking of the Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt himself has confirmed that lines in promos in his history were actually titles of the Firefly Funhouse episodes. This was not a mistake. This was not coincidence. This was something he and WWE likely planned years ago. But now, with the character The Fiend being the forefront of the Bray Wyatt story, we have to wonder what's next. We know the evolution of The Fiend is coming. We assume he's going to have a new look, maybe a new mask, maybe a new hair colour, maybe a new attire, maybe a new entrance, maybe new puppets. We have no idea yet. But how does that all play in to The Fiend? Well, when we look at Bray Wyatt, who we all know is The Fiend, there's a really big secret going on here. And it's seemingly Bray Wyatt can tell the future.
Dude, Seth's coming here right now, and he looks really mad. I'm scared.
He keeps us safe here.
What took you so long?
This is just a perfect example of when seemingly Bray Wyatt knew people were going to visit the Firefly Funhouse. How? How did you know they were coming? You're busy in your funhouse doing your thing. How did you know? Because it's all part of the master plan of manipulating people, of changing people. Perfect example is Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell snapped. Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, just laid there while Seth Rollins destroyed him, hitting him with every object he could find, quite literally trying to kill the Fiend. In hindsight, we know this was unsuccessful. The Fiend lived. Seth Rollins did not kill the Fiend. But why did the Fiend just lay there? Simple. He made Seth Rollins snap. He made Seth Rollins go to a dark place and change forever. And since then, we've seen Seth Rollins become a whole new character, a whole new gimmick, simply because his mind was changed by his own actions. He snapped because of the Fiend. Randy Orton is another perfect example. At TLC in the Firefly Inferno match, the Fiend was set on fire, but it wasn't enough. The Fiend hit the mandible claw. He kept torturing Randy Orton. The Fiend was not going to go away until he laid down, and Randy Orton had no choice but to go again to that deep, dark place and set the Fiend on fire. Literally, the entire body of the Fiend engulfed in flames by Randy Orton. Now, Randy is a character who will do sick and depraved things, but WWE made it clear very quickly this wasn't something Randy wanted to do. He had a chance to do it again to Alexa Bliss. He refused. He chose not to. The fact he did it to the Fiend, therefore, is telling. He snapped. He was scared. He was desperate. But maybe the Fiend knew it was coming the whole time. The Fiend has always been with Bray Wyatt. Now, the interesting point here is Bray Wyatt hasn't been around forever. The Fiend has obviously probably been in other vessels before, maybe. And of course, Bray Wyatt being set on fire, the body of Bray Wyatt did nothing more than maybe unleash the Fiend, releasing the Fiend from the mortal being that was Bray Wyatt's body. Maybe that's why we now see this black liquid play into the storyline between Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton, both of which have suffered the black liquid. Alexa Bliss seemingly embraced it and was not scared of it, while Randy Orton chokes and is petrified every time he vomits the black goo. Maybe it's because Alexa knows exactly what it is and is not afraid of the liquid. Maybe it's the soul of the Fiend. Maybe that's why Alexa Bliss is in a pinnacle inside the Firefly Funhouse. Maybe she needs to resurrect the body of Bray Wyatt because the soul of the Fiend never went away. The soul of the Fiend itself is the magic. The soul of the Fiend is the demon who's possessing and torturing Randy Orton ongoing. Not Alexa Bliss doing voodoo witch magic that AJ Styles claims, but actually the Fiend. But why would Bray Wyatt really want Randy Orton to set him on fire? Why would the Fiend even want that? It's kind of a dramatic sense, unless you knew the fire itself was not going to hurt you. Go back in history.
Your fire fears me, Kane.
To Bray's first ever main roster WWE feud. It was a Ring of Fire match at SummerSlam with Kane, and in a promo before it, Bray Wyatt said,
It itself can never, ever hurt me.
So with all of everything else going on, Bray knew the whole time fire could not hurt him. His body may perish and burn, but the Fiend would be fine. The dominant force inside of his mind would be absolutely fine. And he himself can maybe devise a plan to be resurrected by the Wyatt family back in the day, or today, now, Alexa Bliss. That explains a whole heap on why Bray Wyatt needed someone else in the Firefly Funhouse, because let's be fair, the Funhouse is a great place, there's puppets galore, everything's going on, it's fun and happy, but surely you want human friends in there from the very beginning, unless he didn't. But it was a necessity to have Alexa Bliss there, or have someone there who could resurrect him when the time was right. Think about it, back then we saw a distraught Alexa Bliss, an Alexa Bliss who was not happy that the Fiend had went away. She was so distraught to the point where she actually wanted Randy Orton to kill her so she could join the Fiend, so she could be with him. Unless she knew the whole time Randy was never going to do it in the first place. But nonetheless, now Alexa Bliss is very happy. She's joyous. She's ecstatic, torturing Randy Orton to the point where she knows that the Fiend's return is imminent. She knows she holds the whole power in her hands and she can bring him back. And the time is nearly here. I can't wait. I really can't wait. But nonetheless, it's great storytelling by all involved. I really like the idea that the Fiend never actually went away, that the being may have gone, but the soul, the demonic entity of the Fiend has never, ever, ever left. And that's kind of fun. It's kind of fun that you think, you know, he's the one that's caused a distraction to Randy Orton, that's made Randy Orton go on this big losing streak, so to speak. And it's definitely exciting to know that hopefully he's coming back very, very soon. Obvious question now is, will this play out on Monday Night Raws? There are currently 4 until WrestleMania itself. We've got Fastlane a week from tonight, which is crazy. And then, of course, there's 2 weeks to go until WrestleMania hits itself. And I think if anything happens, the last stop for The Fiend, the last date he would return, I'm pretty confident, is WrestleMania. So we're getting close. It could be tomorrow. It could be WrestleMania. But all eyes have to now be on this story because this is the final stretch. This is the final hurdle before he returns. At the start of this video, we kind of proved that Bray and The Fiend have been one pretty much forever. And the fun thing with that is that this story seemingly has been planned forever. Bray Wyatt WWE will definitely have the massive plan on how to reveal the new Fiend, the Fiend's return, etc. However that may look or be, to every intricate detail, and I cannot wait. Let me know your thoughts, as you always do, in the comments section down below. Like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at CWrestlingUK. I will see you, as always, next time. Peace!